Good evening, and welcome to Wednesday Night Live Spirit, Mind, and Body Connection. I am Dr. Sharon Stroud. I am the founder of Interfaith Spiritual Center Worldwide, where we believe there's a power for good in the universe greater than we are, and we can use it. And we are using it every single day of our lives. And so, as I welcome you to our Wednesday Night Live Spirit, Mind, and Body Connection, I want to acknowledge our virtual community. Those of you who are very serious about your spirituality, about truly going within and feeling that presence and that energy and that foundation. Because the more that we go within and we do our work energetically, we are out in the world. And as we're out in the world with all of its vibrational frequencies, to maintain our own spiritual equanimity, that balance of knowing who we are. And for me, it's important to participate in the world, to bring our consciousness, our heart, our soul into the world. And as we do that energetically, everyone and anyone who comes within our energy field is healed and uplifted in our presence. So tonight, Miss Minnie and I, she wants to say hi to everybody. Yes, you do, don't you? And it's so interesting. The minute I sit down to do Wednesday Night Live, she jumps up on my lap, and it's like she just wants to be a part of this energy. And we know that our little four-leggeds love unconditionally. They, it's just so wonderful. I can go out for 5 minutes and come in, and she's jumping, and she's just so excited to see me. And we love that, don't we? So tonight, we're going to, and our whole theme for this month is Angels Among Us. And I love this theme because there is the physical energy, there is the spiritual energy, there's the esoteric energy of the unseen. And there have been so many beautiful angel encounters that have been documented, and amazing healings where someone has actually been a pronouncement of their death, and an hour later, amazingly enough, the flat line goes to activity, and the person has seen other realms and other energies, and it's moving into that cosmic consciousness. So tonight I want to welcome all of you, and I have not discovered how to see your comments on the Sharon Stroud page. And so forgive me, but if you're here, just know that I am just so very grateful. I know that last week, our Rhonda was here from Florida, and Carl Wilson, and many of you, our dear Reverend Prince Fleet Easton, and our Julian Paul Hernandez is our moderator for Wednesday Night Live. And I want to thank you, Julian. You've been one of our interfaith angels and very much appreciated. So as I set the tone tonight, I use the Tibetan bells, and I share with you the chant from the Gandhi Foundation. So I invite you to, as I make the declaration into the law of mind, I invite you to repeat after me. And if you don't feel comfortable audibly repeating it after me, you can just silently say it to yourself, placing your hand on your heart and silently just feeling that vibrational energy of peace, the peace that passes all understanding, the peace that passes all human understanding as we open to spiritual realms. So these Tibetan bells resonate to the heart chakra. Remember, a chakra in the ancient Sanskrit means a wheel of spinning energy in a clockwise fashion, that we have 7 major chakras within this body temple. So tonight, I offer you peace. I offer you friendship. I offer you love. I see your beauty. I hear your needs. I feel your feelings. My wisdom flows from a higher source. I salute that source in you. Come, let us work together. Come, let us work together. Come, let us work together. We know that right now, somewhere in the world, a Jew is saying her prayers. A Hindu is chanting a mantra, and a Buddhist is kneeling at her sacred shrine. Right now, at this very moment, someone is lighting a candle in a cathedral. Someone is making their Hajj toward Mecca, for it is the will of Allah. And yet someone else is lighting a fire in a jungle, repeating an ancient mystical drama. Many, many pathways up the mountaintop, and the view is always the same from the summit. In the dawning of the spiritual sun, for a moment all faiths became as one. The Christian, Buddhist, Muslim, Jew became as one, and somehow knew that mystic voice that calls to me, "Oh, yonder person, I am thee. We are one." This oneness moves beyond color, race, creed, sexual orientation, and political affiliation. Our God is all inclusive, all loving, all pervasive in the energy that lives and moves and has its being at the center of our one life, which is God's life, which is our life now. And so tonight, we're going to acknowledge angels among us. We're going to acknowledge that there is in the unseen, peering through the veil and making its appearance when called upon. And I'm reminded very much of an interview that I saw with a young woman who got on the plane, and she said, she felt like there was an interesting energy on the plane. And she said, I looked at every single face as I was walking down the aisle. I looked in the eyes of every single person, and I established eye contact. And I thought, gee, I've never done this before. And she said, I took my seat and I acknowledged the person next to me. And I heard a voice on the plane. And the voice said, fasten your seatbelts. You're in for the ride of your life. She looked around. People had their eyes closed. There was no one around. And so she said to herself, that was interesting. And again, the voice came, fasten your seatbelt. You're in for the ride of your life. She said she just, fastened it a little tighter. The plane took off. It was very uneventful. And they were about 30,000 feet up. And this is an interesting point that I want to share with you, that someone had taken her seat on the other side of the aisle, and they are already comfortable. So she said, I'll just take your seat over on this side. So there was, a little mix up with the seats. So she took the seat of the gentleman that was in her seat. And when they're about 30,000 feet up, suddenly they hear this almost like an explosion. And part of the fuselage, which is the body of the plane, goes flying off the plane. And 9 people, including where she was to be seated, lost their lives. They were immediately, you can just imagine just that whole energy. And they were just floating away after part of the fuselage opened up. Everyone was clinging to each other. People were screaming, people were crying. The flight attendant had been knocked out through luggage that fell on her head. She said it was chaos. And all she could think about is the seat that she was assigned that just blew out of the plane. And she said, with all the screaming, the chaos, the clinging, suddenly unbelievable, and she used that word. I only use unbelievable if it's negative. If it's wonderful, I say amazing. Because if it is so wonderful, I don't want to put the message out to the universe that it's unbelievable, because it is believable. It's happening. We've called upon it. We've prayed about it. We've treated on it, and it's manifested. It's believable. To me, the unbelievable is the negative stuff, which we know that on a higher level, that there is no good or bad experience. There's just experience, and we learn and we grow and we unfold. All of a sudden, she said, she felt this amazing energy of peace. And she looked out the window and she said, she saw the hand of God. And she heard the voice, "Fear not, we will land you safely." And with that, they landed the plane. And only the 9 people that were pulled from the plane through that energy, that magnetic pull of energy, lost their lives on this plane and went on to the next plane. And she said, when I looked out that window and I really saw this amazing hand in the sky, and I knew immediately it was the hand of God. And when I heard that voice, "Fasten your seatbelt, you're in for the ride of your life," I knew intuitively something was going on. And from that day forward, I've been changed. My energy shifted. And to have an experience in an airplane where you are landing safely, and yet part of the airplane, the body is missing, is phenomenal, isn't it? It's absolutely phenomenal. Oh, I see that our Reverend Prince Fleet is here. God bless you, dear. Love you. So when we are feeling angelic presences and visitations, and, it's not just biblical. We know that the angel Gabriel, had the visitation with Mary's Annunciation, and she opened to it. But the Immaculate Conception is the immaculate thought. Think about it. The Immaculate Conception, the concept within us, the purity of that thought that is within us. So when the angel Gabriel appeared to Mary and shared, that I bring you good tidings of great joy, that, unto the city of David, that you are carrying this energy. But each of us carries that energy of Christ consciousness within us. As our humanness gives way to the divine, the Christ consciousness arises triumphant and victorious. That is, as we keep letting go and letting God do what God does best by means of each and every one of us who hear the call and answer. Before they call, I will answer. And while they're yet speaking, I will hear. So just think, before they call, I will answer. And while they're yet speaking, I will hear. Because what? The universe is vast, energetically. That which we utter, becomes the outer. Decree a thing, and it is established unto us. Because our word is a law unto which it is sent. So there are no offhanded expressions. And the universe doesn't have a sense of humor in that way. It just takes the energy that you're putting into it. And it's just taking the energy and receiving it. So tonight, I want to share with you one of my very, very favorite angels stories that was documented. In fact, this was years ago on show. It was called Angels Among Us. And it was a young woman who had to go through a certain part of town. And she said, I wasn't looking forward to it because the energy there was very low. It was a very low energy. It was known for, its crime and was known for a lot of unsavory activity. But she uh, had to run into the store for something. And it was like one of those little 7-Eleven type stores. And so she said, when I walked down the alleyway, I could see up ahead 2 guys. And I had a red parka on and I zipped it up and I put my hands in my pocket and I said, "Angels be with me now." And I walked right by them. Went to the store, had my needs fulfilled, walked back through the alley, got in my car, got home. Later on that night on the 11 o'clock news, I saw that a young woman was mugged in the exact place where I had to walk by. And they had apprehended the 2 men that had mugged her. And so it was a small town. And the next day, she was very friendly with the sheriff. And she said, I had to walk down that same alley. I wondered why they didn't attempt to mug me. Would you ask them? And the sheriff, being very accommodating, he said, I will. And he went to them and he said, did you see a young woman with a red parka walk through the alley? And they said, yes, we did. And he said, well, why didn't you attempt to mug her? They said, are you kidding? With those 2 huge guys on each side of her? No way. Angels be with me now. And the appearance. And what is so interesting, she said she felt the safety and the energy of the safety. Because you know that whatever experience that we are in, and we call upon the universe, and the universe responds, and that which we fear does come upon us. And that which we are most afraid of, we do experience. So when we have the energy of faith and protection and knowing that we are divinely protected, that there is not a lower vibratory frequency that we're pulling in. She saw the unsavory energy. She felt it. She zipped up her red parka. Angels be with me now. And the appearance of the angels. It's just one of my very favorite stories because energetically, we call upon the energy of the universe that wraps us in light, and we put on the whole armor of light. And we live in a very interesting age, and the attention span is quite interesting also. But if we are really true metaphysicians, and we're about our Father, Mother, God's business, we do our work. We read inspirational materials. I have a Gaia channel, and GAIA, and all kinds of wonderful documentaries, wonderful interviews on Gaia, absolutely wonderful. And I feel that as long as I'm here on the planet, that I am here to grow and to unfold. And remember, I have been an ordained minister for 40 consecutive years, 46 consecutive years. Didn't take 28 years off to do something else. 46 consecutive years. And I feel that I have been the greatest benefactor and that I have experienced miracles on such an intimate level. And what I know is, energetically, that this power in the universe that I choose to call God, it doesn't matter what you call your higher power, God, Buddha, Yahweh, Jehovah, Brahman, it matters not, Allah, but to know that there is something within us that is so much more powerful than that which is within the world. So every Wednesday night, when I do Wednesday Night Live, and I have a certain subject matter, and I know that as I put forth this universal message of love oneness, that I am tipping the scales in favor of spirituality, oneness, and universal love, and that I am the greatest benefactor of this. And I would say every Sunday morning at our chapel that I do this for me. And if you get something out of it, that is wonderful. But the minute I think I'm doing this for you, the minute I'm called out at 2 a.m. to be at someone's bedside who is making their transition, and I think I'm doing it for them, then we move into what? Martyrdom, victimhood, after all I've done for them. God is my source. And energetically, whatever shows up, and I give myself to it, that influence lives on forever. Remember that the good things we do are born of God. That influence lives on forever. And don't ever feel that you're doing something and you're not getting the thanks that you need, because there is a universal power and presence that is blessing your kindness, that is blessing your goodness, that is blessing your goodness of heart, and allowing us to be in the world to serve. And I believe that we are truly here to serve one another. I have so many friends that are they're in the animal ministry and animal Samaritans and pet rescue. And I was told this story about it was about a yellow lab that he was getting up in years. And then one day, he was attempting to jump out of his master's car, and he landed and he just couldn't get back up again. And so his master carried him into his bed and pet him and loved on him, and he wouldn't eat. He was just listless. This went on for days. So finally, he took him to the vet, and the vet said, "I think he's really ready to transition." And he said, "I'd had him since a puppy. I just loved him. And I took his collar off. I put it in my shed with a few other collars of beloved pets that I'd had that were so loving." And an interesting thing, as I was walking back into the house, there was this little border collie running up the walkway, the sidewalk. And I felt for a collar. There was no collar. I thought, well, you must be lost. You must be hungry and thirsty. And I let her in, and gave her, tried to feed her, but she wouldn't eat. She wasn't, but she immediately saw my white lab named Sailor. And she went up to Sailor. She began licking Sailor's face and licking the ears. And suddenly Sailor, the white lab, perked up and attempted to get up, very weak as he was, because he'd been really pretty immobile for several days. And she just kept licking him and nudging him and nudging him and nudging him and licking him. And he got more energy. He went over to his food dish. He began to eat. He drank some water. And suddenly they were out in the yard playing. And they were ready to have their beloved pet put to sleep, because obviously he didn't want to see his beloved friend, Sailor, suffering. And this is each and every one of us, all our viewing audience. Most of us have gone through that, haven't we? Where we've had to put one of our beloved pets to sleep. And he was just like amazed. And so he called the local radio station about the little border collie and said, did someone lose this darling dog? And the radio put it out. And later on in the afternoon, a car pulled up in front of his house, and a woman got out, and she, had moved from out of state and there was like a forest, and her dog went, through the forest and I guess just lost its way, in quotes, right? No accidents, and wound up in his yard. And there was Sailor. And so she nudged him and licked him, loved on him. And Sailor revitalized, regenerated, and recreated its energy, his energy. And so the woman thanked Sailor's master, and he said, "Oh, your little dog brought my dog back to life. I am so grateful." And she had the collar in her purse, her little dog. And as she was putting the collar on her little border collie, the name said Angel. And he said, I looked at the nameplate, Angel, and said, yes, this little border collie was my sailor's angel. And what was so interesting, when his wife came out, she said she was in the bedroom praying, dear God, send us an angel for our beloved, beloved pet. Send us an angel. And guess what? An angel appeared, a little four-legged, nudging, licking. All life responds to love. All life responds to the energy of light and caring and compassion. All life is there for us. And just as a young woman felt that lower vibratory frequency and zipped up her red parka, angels be with me now. And to have those the two men that mugged the woman that walked down that alley after her, and when they were asked again, well, why didn't you mug her? Are you kidding? Those two huge guys beside her, walking with her, no way. Angels be with me now. And let us call upon the angel of the presence who carries healing in her wings. That each and every one of us has a guardian angel. We have a presence. We have an energy. And as we open to that energy, knowing that there is an immaculate thought within us, the purity of thought, that we are in the world, but of a higher vibratory frequency, and that we operate through that frequency. So tonight, you know that, and I would just love to hear about your own angel stories, and that you're doing your work, and that as you do your work, that you deepen the quality of your life. And I believe that this is really why we are here, and that we all go through our experiences. We're all part of the human condition. We have our human reactions. We have our grief situations. But the truth is, we are eternal, and that we move beyond time and space when we shed this body temple and we let go and let God do what God does best by means of each and every one of us who hear that call and answer. So I invite you to place your prayer requests. We always love to know where you're from. And as you place your prayer requests, know that we have a very powerful miracle working ministry of prayer that knows the truth with you and for you. So let's just go within just for a moment. Let's just acknowledge that there is one life, that life is God's life. Yes, it is. I'm getting affirmation here. And that life is our life now. That it is nearer than our breathing. It is closer than hands and feet. It is the life of our life. It is the essence of our being. All that we are is this God-created stuff. God in us, God as us. God is the only truth of us. For eye hath not seen, nor ear heard, neither hath entered in to the heart of humanity the things which God hath prepared for them that love. Love being the strongest healing power in the universe. If you could love enough, you would be the strongest, most powerful being on the planet. Let us align that which needs to be healed is healed. That which needs to be revealed is revealed. That which needs to be known is known. And that which needs to be released is released quickly, gently, and with grace. Thank you, Father, Mother, God, for this way of life. And I want to add, if there's anyone viewing tonight that possibly cried themselves to sleep last night, know that this word is for you. The love of God surrounds you. The light of God enfolds you. The power of God protects you. And the presence of God watches over you, that wherever you are, God is. This is the truth for you and with you. Thank you, Father, Mother, God, that we are not alone, that the everlasting arms are wrapped around us, lifting us in love and light always. And what I also know is that all cause, effect, record, and memory of that which no longer serves returns to its native nothingness from whence it came, because in truth, it is neither person, place, nor thing. It is only the life and the energy that is given unto it. Thank you, Father, Mother, God, for answered prayer. We feel it, we know it, we accept it, and we step into it. And so it is. Amen. I want to thank you for tuning in tonight, stepping into the angelic presence, and the opportunity that we have to know the truth. And for those of you that have been sending in your tithes and your love offerings, I want you to know that in March 22nd will be 2 years that we have not received a physical offering. We have not been in our chapel. There has been no physical public relationships. But because of our interfaith angel, because of you who have extended your own generosity, and some of you wrote me and said, I've never given to a spiritual center before. And it felt so good because why? That we're never going to outgive God, and we're never going to outgive the universe. The same opening that we give through is the same opening we receive through. This is a learned process. And for those of us that were raised in poverty consciousness, we had to really learn this, that we are never, ever going to outgive God or the universe. And that truly, I cast my bread upon the living waters, and it returns tenfold. So thank you very much for your tithes, your love offerings, and your financial gifts that keep our doors open. And, we're still carrying on. We still, just like everyone, we're about our Father, Mother, God's business, but we are running a business, and we pay our vocal soloist and, all of the things that come to us, that are part of really running a business. And because of you, our doors are open. And I thank you, thank you, thank you. And I want to say namaste, little Miss Minnie and I. The divinity within me salutes the divinity within you. And the divinity within you salutes the divinity within me. And if I am in that place in me and you are in that place in you, there truly is only one of us. Namaste. And I say shalom, the peace that passes all understanding. And God bless us, everyone. Thank you, Tiny Tim, for that, right? And Miss Minnie and I will be with you with part 3 of Angels Among Us and the energy that brings us to a higher, much higher octave in our consciousness. And that is why I love our way of life. So know that I'm grateful for you, that I love you, and we will see you next week.